Okay. Okay, so let's take a look at another essay. So wealthy countries should accept more refugees and provide them with basic assistance such as food and housing. To what extent do you agree? Okay, so do you agree or not? So the keys are accept more refugees, provide them with basic assistance. So more is the key word here. Okay. It is often argued that first world nations must support. Okay, so you're doing the paraphrasing the question, which is fine. Needs the essay. This essay, not this, strongly disagrees with the statement because of a number of reasons, including they cost a huge burden on economy and they perform violating activities. I would be careful saying this. I think it's a huge generalization, and it's not something that is politically correct. And if you get an examiner whose maybe parents were refugees and came to England or Australia and worked hard and made a life and had this examiner as their kid, and then she became your examiner, she's not going to be too happy about that. So I wouldn't say that personally. Um, Strongly disagrees. I mean, there's no point in saying strongly. Disagrees is enough. And be, because of a number of reasons, including, you don't need that. Because they cost a huge burden. Okay, so it's not cost. If you say cost, it's cost a lot of money. If you say they, it's are. Oops. They are a huge burden on the economy, and they perform violating activities. Oof. Okay, the economy of any country highly depends on the number of workforce. Okay, so I think so far, I mean, I know a lot of teachers teach you to do this. I don't teach you to do this. An introduction should give the background and context for your essay. Um, no essay at university would do something like this. So, I mean, I would say something like um, the burden of a single refugee on a country can be enormous. Okay. Helpful if you read more about this. Actually, the burden that refugees have on a country overall, like if you look at the overall economy, the burden of refugees is very, very, very small. There's a lot of debate in England about this at the moment, and actually, it's a minute part of the economy. It's not very much. Okay. So anyway, you've got a thesis, which is good. You've got your points, you disagree, and you've got your 2 points. So the structure is good. I would be careful of this one. The economy of any country depends on the number of workforce. The number of workforce? You can't count workforce. What can you count? You count people, right? People in the workforce. The outsiders play negligible role to boost this because of the fact that either they do not have enough education or they are not aware of social values. So outsiders don't help the economy because they don't know social values. I mean, outsiders can work, whether they know social values or not. They can work, and they often do, and that adds to an economy. So, I mean, I don't know. Can you prove this? Can you show that they're not aware of social values, therefore they don't help the economy? That's a difficult thing to argue. I mean, you're choosing very very difficult things to prove. And really this essay is about, every essay really is about, presents, I did this on the other thing, right? Presents point of view, extends and supports. That's a 9, okay? But what does this mean? It means you have a point of view, which you do. You have a point of view that there's a negligible role, but your reason is because of social values, so you have to prove this. But the problem is, you don't extend this, you don't explain this. You just go on to another, a separate reason why, causing them for a loss of resources. So you don't, you have a different reason. This is another reason why they shouldn't accept more refugees. You need to explain this. Why is that a problem? Inviting them to cause a loss of resources for who? Who loses those resources? I mean, you can work in a kitchen and you don't really need English. You need a tiny little bit of English. You can do construction, you can do all kinds of things. You don't need much English. This is a whole paragraph. This language is one reason why they shouldn't accept more refugees. So this is the thing, like if you go back here, you say extend, right? Look, 7 is may overgeneralize. Unclear or repetitive is even worse, it's a 6. Inadequately developed or unclear. Some relevant main ideas, which you have, but they're inadequately developed or unclear. Okay, these are not inadequately developed. They're not developed at all. Okay, so just choose one and then develop it. It means explain it. It means give the reasons, give the examples. Okay, for instance, recently in America changes to, okay, so they made changes. Okay, but changes doesn't really extend any of these ideas you have here. The stoppage was calculated by economists who concluded that much of government taxes are wasting on the stoppage. What stoppage? You didn't mention stoppage here. You just said changes. So you can't refer to the stoppage. The economists who concluded that much of government taxes are wasting on refugees. Yeah, this is like highly debatable. Go and do some reading about this. Like seriously, like I go and do some reading about it and understand the issues. There's a lot of stuff on the BBC about this at the moment. This is a lot of what the Trump administration is doing and many administrations do when they are trying to drum up support. This is really a false argument. I mean, you can find stuff on either side of anything, but it's calculated by economists who concluded that much government taxes are wasting, I mean, immigrants are not dragging the government into debt in the United States. No way. I mean, they have far bigger problems than immigrants, that's for sure. But anyway, fine, never mind. We don't need to like argue this point. Really what you should have here is 1 point. And you should say outsiders play. So what you need to say here is really clearly wealthy countries should not accept more refugees because they are a strain on the government's budget. But then if you, like, this is kind of what your point is, right? But if you're going to say this, you need to show, you need to extend, you need to prove that this is true. And this is just kind of like very general claims. You're claiming that language is a barrier, then it means they can't make money, which, I mean, I completely disagree with. You're claiming that they don't have the education or they're not aware. A lot of refugees have education. I mean, a lot of doctors, like from Iraq, will go into England, and I mean, all kinds. They just can't work as doctors because of the licenses. But yeah, I mean, it's so general. All right, so let's see. Another major issue with foreigners is their lack of understanding of rules and regulations of rich countries. The crime rate has increased. There are no methods to develop and manage crimes among outlanders. And extra management is required to look after this. For example, during the wartime between America and Afghanistan. Ah, you're from Pakistan. Uh-huh. Who shares the border. And in the same year, Pakistan Federal Board of Investigation published a report which clearly indicated smuggling between. I mean, smuggling between Pakistan and Afghanistan has gone on for centuries. I mean, it's like there's never been control between those borders. It's impossible. I mean, the Afghanis are so good at moving through the mountains. Clearly, a significant rise in smuggling between Pakistan and Afghanistan. And that, how come the crime rate increased? Okay. All right. Basically, okay. So we go take a step back and look at this, right? I think you need to, we discussed already what you need to do in your paragraphs. Your grammar and lexical resource is not bad. There are a few problems with grammar, which we saw in the introduction, and there's sort of more. There are no methods to develop to manage crimes. There are no methods to develop to manage crimes among outlanders. I don't know what that means. There are no methods to develop to manage. So again, like grammar is going to be a problem there, which means you're going to have a problem with coherence and cohesion and task achievement. Lexical resources, not too bad. You have some good vocabulary in there. I would say that's good. Coherence and cohesion, this is a huge problem, and task and achievement is a huge problem. Why? The question says provide them with basic assistance. They're asking you yes or no, and you haven't said anything. So you should say somewhere, we shouldn't provide them with basic assistance because A, B, C. These are the reasons. You need to explain it. Okay. I mean, if you're going to say don't provide them with basic assistance, send them home, then you need to explain why. If you're going to talk about this example, I mean, this is good. The good thing about this is you have a specific example. But I think this will be a major problem for your mark, for sure. This paragraph structure, we discussed that was going to be a major problem, so work on that. And grammar needs tidying up. Okay, so hopefully that gives you a bit of help. All right. So send comments on YouTube or in Facebook if you have any questions.